Hold on. I'm about to pull up some things right now. So you saying that the court never had rulings on the right to travel? They can't require the like we all know. I said the driver's license might be legal, but they not lawful.
Exactly.
Huh?
The California Supreme Court already ruled on these topics, bro. What are you talking about? The California Supreme Court, which the supreme law of the land, ruled that for the state of California, period. So that's case law, right? Do you understand case law? Do you understand contract?
Hey, Moore, let's just slow down and like you bring it up, because let's just look it up and show it to him, and then he could show us if we wrong and let the public understand. Because it's a great bill. Yeah, you're right though. I agree with you, but let's just show it on the thing. You know what I'm saying? So we won't just say he's wrong and live into a shouting match. That's all.
Yeah. Hold on. Basically, if we tell you, listen, this is how it's supposed to really work in real law. If we tell you a court case, a Supreme Court law case, and if you don't tell no other case that debunked that case in Supreme Court case, stands as law. If they never overruled it, that's what that means. You can't say a state court case is higher than a Supreme Court ruling.
But we got to show him though. But I'm going to show it for you. That's all.
You
So
right.
we're just about to show him.
All
That's
right, hold on. Let me get my papers right now. That's how we going. And I wasn't trying to get the papers, but I get the same papers that we did before.
Okay, I haven't got the papers,
Yo,
but
how about Christie versus
on my screen right now, it is the 10th Amendment
Christie
codes. Oh, my fault, brother. I apologize.
Oh, no, you are good. Christie versus
You gotta understand contract before you understand anything, man. That's what a license is. It's a contract, brother.
But it says right here under the 10th Amendment state codes, traffic regulation isn't mentioned in the Constitution. The supreme law of the land, therefore, the power generally falls to the state's pursuit to the 10th Amendment. So it's not a federal law. If it's not a federal law, it's not law, sir. I'm just giving you. Okay, cool.
Thank you.
Everybody, it's your turn, Artie, it's your turn. Just slow down for 1 second. I just would like for all of us to understand that. Let it be a back and forth conversation. All of us over here are saying, go against this, brother. Go ahead.
Okay.
It's a corporate contract, brother. It's a corporate contract, is what it is. It's not a law. It's an ordinance. It's an ordinance, brother. Look it up.
So you think code, statutes, ordinances, and regulations is law? That's what you're saying? It's color of law. Statutes, codes, regulations, ordinances is color of law. Everything that happened since 1801 after the Organic Act of Congress is not law. It's under a de facto corporation doing business as what happened? Everything 1871 is not law. The corporation doing business as government, a de facto bankrupt corporation. Organic Act of Congress, 1871. Listen, so the United States Republic, the United States Constitution for the Constitution for the United States of America Republic, and the binding, all binding treaties is the established law of the land. That's it. I have to get into some case laws real quick for you right now, and then hold on. The right to travel, the right to mode of conveyance, the right to locomotion are all absolute rights, and the police cannot make void the exercise of. Went over that in the last verse Armstead and Chicago Motor Coach versus Chicago, Illinois, ALR Laguerre versus Chicago. The use of the highways for the purpose of travel and transportation is not a mere privilege, but a common and fundamental right of which the public and natural beings cannot be deprived. Boone versus Clark. The right to park or travel is part of the liberty of which the natural citizen cannot be deprived without due process of law under the Fifth Amendment of the United States Constitution. Kemp versus Dawes. I think we said Thompson versus Smith. We talking about a carriage and all. Actually,
Can I say something? Can I say something? The act of driving is a commercial act, first of all, brother. And I looked that up and tell me I'm wrong. They make plates at the they make plates at the DMV for non-commercial conveyances. Now tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. I want you to do that. I'm gonna pull it up for you.
got him. Actually, Thompson versus Smith. I'm gonna let you see it since you. Somebody pull up Thompson versus Smith if you could. But actually, I'm just gonna read it. I'm gonna read it to you. I'm gonna read it. It says the right of a citizen to travel upon the public highways and for one's property thereon, either by carriage or automobile, their privilege is not mere privilege, which a city may prohibit or permit at will, but a common right which he or she has under the right to life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. So it's a right, and it's not a privilege.
Well, hang on.
Prohibit or permit at will.
Well, hang on a second. You said that. Did you hold on? Did you
dealing with that?
Did you you need to read after that. You need to read after that, dude. Did you read after that?
Class A license. First of all,
let's not cut each other off.
Now,
go ahead. We got to all. Let's go. Let him go.
I mean, again, I already told you that. Did you read after that paragraph? And I think I already told you what that next paragraph said. Now, I'll go ahead and read the next paragraph that you finished off of. The exercise of such a common right, the city may, under its police power, regulate in the interest of the public safety and welfare.
No, I don't say that up there.
Right, because you have a cherry-picked paragraph out of the case to further your narrative.
No, I have a next one that says state police power extends only to mediate threats to public safety, welfare, etc. Michigan versus Duke, which driving and speeding are not. California versus Farley. State is prohibited from violating substantial rights. Owens versus City, and it cannot do by one power, e.g., police, which is, for example, prohibited expressly to any other such power, e.g., taxation, eminent domain. Remember, y'all heard Jay-Z rapping about eminent domain in the new Somehow, Some Way thing. As a matter of law, U.S.
My fault.
Hey, versus Daniels.
I could look it up and it could be on the screen while you're talking.
Just go to California versus Farley, or Christie versus Elliott. Christy versus Elliott. Elliot. Traveling in the automobile on the public roads was not a threat to the public safety or health, constituted no hazard to the public, and such a traveler owed no other duty to the public, e.g., he or she and his or her auto have an equal right to and on the highways as horses and wagons, etc. This same right is still substantive rule, and that speeding, running stop signs, traveling without license plates or registration are not threats to the public safety and thus are not arrestable offenses. Christie versus Elliott, California versus Farley.
Right, it said not arrestable offenses.
Under the United
States. Just because something is not an arrestable offense doesn't mean you still can't be cited for it.
But when somebody is pulling you over on the side and acting like they're police, they're really see you right there. So they got to really show their evidence, and they don't ever do that. So that's a violation right there. Constitution. Life, make life, liberty, happiness. No war, no crime.
I mean, I have here, what do we got here? Miller versus Reed, 176 F3D 1202 9th Circuit. Miller does not have a fundamental right to drive. In Dixon versus Love, the Supreme Court held that the state could summarily suspend or revoke the license of a motorist who had been repeatedly convicted of traffic offenses with due process satisfied by a full administrative hearing, available only after the suspension or revocation had taken place. The court conspicuously did not afford the possession of a driver's license the weight of a fundamental right. In sum, Miller does not have a fundamental right to drive a motor vehicle, and the DMV did not unconstitutionally impede his right to interstate travel by denying him a driver's license.
All right, so what case is that from?
That is Miller versus Reed, 176 F3D 1202.
And what was that?
No, it's the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals. So that governs California, Washington, Oregon, and a couple of other states.
Okay. For a crime to exist, there must be an injured party, corpus delicti. There can be no sanction or penalty imposed on one because of this constitutional right. And claim and exercise of constitutional rights cannot be converted to a crime. Miller versus Kansas. The other one was Sheriff versus Cullen. If any tribunal court finds absence of proof of jurisdiction over a person and its subject matter, this must be dismissed. Louisville versus Motley. The accuser bears the burden of proof beyond a reasonable doubt. Let's see.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, the right to travel hasn't been overridden. That's why they got transportation.
Except for the case that I just cited to you that contradicts everything like what you just said.
Case don't contradict everything you said.
It explicitly said that driving is not a fundamental right.
Traveling, but not driving.
I just want to go back all the way to the beginning, like when I'm not trying to throw this off. I promise you that we
sure.
went off the first thing. When we say that privilege, the driving privilege is state or federal, I'm asking you, which one is it? Is it a state or it is a supreme federal law?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Like when we first came on,
yeah,
we were talking about, is it a state law or is it a federal supreme law?
Mm-hmm.
Drive.
Well, the right to travel in its general sense, general form, is a fundamental right. So in its general sense. Now, the regulation of, driving on the highways, as in, who cannot have a driver's license, that is regulated by the states. And they are granted that through the 10th Amendment.
Okay, so it's not a supreme law of the land.
The explicit law, each individual state has their own laws regarding driver's licenses.
Yes, sir. And I'm just asking that the federal, the Supreme Court and the federal law override state law, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, federal law trumps state law.
Yes.
Period. Okay, that's
nothing to
it.
think about.
So it's not really a federal law. It's like a lower law.
The state laws, yes, the state laws govern each individual states.
So if I wasn't in the state I was born federally, I wouldn't have to have a license there.
No,
because it's not federal law.
No, because with what has been passed is called the Driver's License Compact, and what that essentially means is that the states will recognize each other states' licenses.
Well, what I'm saying
that's also called a full faith and credit.
No, I said it wrong. All states, there's 50 so-called United States that's under the District of Columbia. If I'm not in their jurisdiction, federal law overrides state law.
Well, yes, only in the sense of whether or not you think that a certain federal law trumps that state law.
Okay, I don't belong to America. I'm a Canadian citizen.
Okay.
I don't belong to the jurisdiction of America.
Okay.
Or the United States. So under federal law, I wouldn't have to get, I'm not under their jurisdiction.
Unless you are within the borders of the United States, then you are subject to the jurisdiction. People who immigrate to the United States may be foreign nationals, but they still have to adhere to the U.S. law when they're here.
I didn't say that. I'm saying that if I came from Canada and I got pulled over, the police would have to take me over to the immigration or ICE. They couldn't just put me in the jail or do the same thing they do with an American citizen?
Oh, that's a good question. I have to be curious about what sort of relationship they have when it comes to Canadian travel, people who come over across the border. I honestly don't know what the procedure would be for that.
I understand what you're saying. I'm understanding that if you're from the United States and under United States jurisdiction, you better have a driver's license. But I'm just wondering that people that have different nationalities, like the so-called Moors, are saying they're not United States citizens. I'm not saying that you're right or wrong. I'm just now you see where we coming at with it.
Right, but my and see where I would throw come back at you with that is, regardless of whether or not you want to, you say you're this nationality or that. If you are within the geographic borders of the state or the country that you're in, you are still subject to that state and country's laws, regardless of what nationality you declare yourself as. And I think that goes into the fundamental issue that we have here.
Okay, just so we could just understand, because I'm not saying you're wrong, because I see a lot of my Moors get harmed. But I see a lot of us having great understanding that if we understand that we might could be from Canada, if that's the best way to say it, or Mexico, or we understand how to get out of this legally. We're not under USA jurisdiction no more. Now, I'm not saying it's going to work like that. That's a good case.
I mean, you could say that, but whether or not people will recognize it.
You said
1855, President Abraham Lincoln, the last lawful president. William Dungy slander case says that all.
Who does he think recognized the U.S. corporation? What are you talking about?
One thing, he's too good for that, y'all. He gonna get out of that. Stick to Canada and America.
I mean, me and Mr. Devon Bay already had a long discussion about this whole U.S. corporation bit. Didn't really go well for him.
It's a corporation, G. It's a corporation.
No, it's not. Do you have the articles of incorporation that I can see for the U.S. corporation?
I got paperwork on it.
Oh yeah, is it legitimate paperwork? Has it been recognized by your local corporate court?
Do you know who let George Washington do business here? Do you even know history?
Do you
know history and law goes hand in hand? You're supposed to be a lawyer.
Yeah, but I don't follow revisionist history that think that there was a pan global Moroccan empire, and y'all thinking that you were here before the colonialists.
You are a fraud, my brother.
Oh no, I'm a realist.
You don't know anything.
I'm grounded.
You don't know anything, bro. You got a bar association card. Man, you probably don't even got a bar association card. What do you do for real?
I keep on telling Mr. Devon Bay that y'all seem to think that being an attorney means I have to have a membership with a bar association. I'm gonna have to tell you guys straight up that I was a member of the ABA and the New Jersey Bar Association. I'm not, but I'm still licensed to practice. Y'all seem to think that I have to have an explicit membership with a certain bar association, and I don't, except for a few states. I'm not a member of the New Jersey Bar Association or the New York Bar Association. The reason why is because the licenses, the people who control my licenses, is the judiciary. And the judiciary has nothing to do with the bar association.
Contract, man. A license is a contract. After you get done saying all this shit you saying, after it's all said
I'm sorry, I was just correcting you. I thought you wanted to learn. I guess not.
Let him talk though, and then you can rebut him. Let him talk though, and then rebut.
No, I'm done. He can go on. Go ahead. Teach me.
But no, first what y'all said though, both. I'm gonna fall back right after this. We already got off that. Okay, we understand that driving without license and traveling, it has a lot to do with our jurisdiction and if we're from out of the nation and everything. And okay, that's a good deal. Y'all saying now that America is a country or a corporation. That's an interesting bill right there.
I never said anything about the U.S. being a corporation. Somebody else did.
You're saying that.
I did?
No, we.
Okay. You said we're. I'm sorry, you said you're. Sorry.
Oh, my fault. I'm not trying to be on their side.
No, I mean, I'm not expecting anybody to be on my side.
Nah, we just want facts.
I'm trying to provide them, but
or something that you believe.
Well,
as you was indoctrinated that.
Well,
we don't want that.
Oh, I couldn't agree with you more. I would love to hear some facts from y'all, but I haven't heard anything the last several years that I've been studying this.
You facts.
You gave me facts without evidence, though.
It's an incorporation. It's a corporation.
When was it incorporated?
The corporation is the Pope of Rome.
How? Where's the document that says that? Where is the document?
Password code. Divinia is the password.
Where's the document?
To enslave the indigenous people of Morocco, which the land you're standing on if you are in America.
Where is the document, the Articles of Incorporation, where it says that the Pope is the head, or the CEO president of this subordinate corporation? Please present them. You have a computer. You can present to all. Please provide them for me. I appreciate that.
All we have to do is look them up.
And
we're saying that corporation. That's all we have to do.
But see, the problem is going to that is that Mr. Bay had earlier said that mentioned the 1871 something that happened in 1871, and I already talked to him in our previous hangout that what that is called is what he was referring to as the Organic Act of 1870 or District of Columbia Organic Act of 1871. And I already explained to him that act had nothing to do with the U.S. going bankrupt. It had nothing to do with setting up a corporation. All it did was establish a territorial government for that geographic territory known as the District of Columbia. And furthermore, that law was repealed 3 years later. So I presented the actual text of the law in that hangout, and we went through it together. And it had nothing to do with a corporation or bankruptcy. So
I don't know what you're talking about. I wasn't in that lab, brother.
So going on that, and going on what I've also provided Mr. Bay before, I'm not going to hold your declarations about the Pope being the head of the U.S. corporation as truth and fact based purely upon your word. And you could just say that I've been indoctrinated, but that's not going to give you any credence.
Man, it's something. Can you read? If you can read, there's a papal bull out called Inter Caetera Divina. Read it yourself, and then you can come back and then have some type of debate. Because right now you have none.
I've already provided my information for you
right now.
Okay,
this is factual.
I'm sorry, but the whole
school history,
the whole do your own research line is kind of the last line of a losing argument.
Yourself, man. Everything I say, I show and prove.
I've already said that, telling somebody to do your own research, is kind of like the last swan song of a losing argument.
You need the research. I get the paperwork. I have the information.
I'm looking it up right now, Supremo Bay. He is right, though, because we're teaching the people who are here in the public. I know you. I mean, I'm not saying I know you right, but just what you say the law was again, so I could just look it up and we could show people. I gotta say he's right on that. Let's just show the people, brother. We Moors.
You're talking to me?
No, I'm talking to. No, I wasn't talking to you. He said intervene thing. I'm looking it up right now. I just forgot what word he said.
Look up the Church Papal Bull of 1493 AD. It's the Inter Caetera Divina.
Let me read something real quick.
Wait, are you
18 U.S. Code Section 219. Officers and employees acting as agents of foreign principals. They all been acting, and you didn't even know it was a big movie. Prosecutor and acting judge make money or finances off of every conviction, and you ask the prosecutor for the 1040 or 1099 OID and report them to CID, Criminal Investigations Division, which investigates tax crimes, and TIG/TA, the Inspector General of the IRS. The office is located in Puerto Rico. They will open up an investigation for the last 7 years. The judge and the prosecutor only filed taxes on the salary they received. They hide the commissions in their 401k and retirement plans.
Okay, what are you trying to say with that word salad, man? You kind of threw out so much different shit. You went from the judges being paid by something to the IRS being in Puerto Rico.
The United States is a corporation. They're not a government. They overthrew the republic, and they're not operating on real law. They're operating on admiralty and maritime law.
No, now we got it. That's another fucking topic of discussion.
All of the courts.
But I think somebody mentioned something that this papal decree, this papal document is dated the year 1493. I'm sorry, but under what basis does that have anything to do with the United States that didn't exist for another 200 years?
Can I add on that real quick?
Sure.
The papal bull right here, I looked it up. It's under the Encyclopedia Britannia. That's just where I'm getting one part of my source at. The papal bull, you know what I'm saying, in Roman Catholicism, you know what I'm saying. I'm just gonna stop right there, and then I'm gonna go all the way down to make sure I say this right. It's an official papal letter or a document. Now hold on before that. It's just my thing and everything. Wow. 1 second. I got that from this right here. I don't like looking at Wikipedia, but it's anybody that's a servant to God, and I'm gonna show you the law for it. I just don't like looking at Wikipedia. When it says Wikipedia, it's gonna show you that the papal bull history is a Latin law, and it's called the Episcopus Service Servorium Dia, you know what I'm saying? It's servant of God. It's a contract when you get under the 503C church. And that's what most of America is under right now, and Trump is arguing over. So I'm not saying I'm right. I'm just trying to say that we are under a 503C church thing that Trump is fighting over right now, and they're changing laws to let everybody in the church now vote. I'll digress off that one. I'll digress.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's not really saying much of anything, because the first thing I would think about when you're talking about the Pope and the Vatican is that you first have to know that, you know, the colonies, most of the colonies were not Catholic whatsoever. They were Protestant. So you're going to have to link to me the moment in which the colonies or the United States somehow turned into the Vatican, when they were fairly hostile to Catholicism throughout most of its history.
I can do it for you right now. The Punic Wars, see Hannibal Barca Bay.
The Punic Wars? What, in the Rome?
You can look up the Christian Crusades, the Battle of Tours, 732, the Spanish Inquisition.
Right. Again, all of these are pre-United States, and not dealing with the English. The English.
Let me finish answering this question real quick. When he said something like, "See, hey, my fault, bro. Let me just do one thing. I'm trying to show him where it's in American law." When he said the papal bull, that is a servant.
When you go to the de facto courts, don't they make you put your hand on the Bible and swear an oath? That's canon law, brother. That's canon law.
You don't realize that both Catholics and Protestants both use, well, mostly the same Bible? I mean, the Bible is the Bible. The Catholic Bible is different. You know, has a couple of chapters that are different, but it's still Christian. In what form or fashion are you going to make the assertion that swearing on a Bible automatically makes one Catholic? What in the
Watch
world?
this right here. We're gonna end all the confusion.
I said Christian. I ain't say Catholic.
You said canon law. Look, canon law implies Catholicism.
And that's what they use when you go into court.
Yo, I can hear
I've
you.
been in a court before, and I cannot recall them using
You gotta
a
understand
Catholic
the
Bible.
maxims of law, man. First of all, you don't even understand that.
No, I understand the maximum of law, and I've actually been in a courtroom, and the Bible, if I can even recall the last time they used the Bible, which most of the time they don't these days, it wasn't a Catholic Bible.
Look at this, y'all. Look at this. Read this. 2017 right here. So this is not nothing that's like old, out of date. It's 2017, a year and a half ago.
Are we talking about is America a corporation or is it a country?
I'm
just like,
Just look at what
if we're going with what I'm saying the United States is the United States as a government public entity and not a private corporation.
Banking corporation doing business as America. Doing business as government or whatever, they're imposter. Y'all see that, right?
Yes, we're looking at the state law of Delaware. I don't know what sort of relevance this has to our current discussion. And I thought the state law doesn't even apply to anybody here. So why are we even looking at it in the first place?
All I'm trying to show, Casper, is how the Papal Bull.
The tribe has a constitutional tribal government, and the preamble of its constitution states that its purpose is to. All right, but that's just something that I wanted to show.
Hold on, Cass. Let Root go on.
We Aboriginal indigenous. We don't need that to do them. We doing him a favor. Make sure you got him my cash app. Divine Bay. Huh?
Hey, show that again, bro, because you just showed that it's a corporation. You just showed it's a corporation, but I was gonna show it too.
Hold on.
I'm just trying to stick to the subject. See, we all going in different subjects.
Yes, we are.
You know what I'm saying? We only got one person, three of our brains, so we got to stick to one subject for him. You showed something that just showed that it's a corporation. I just can't believe you just went past it. But I'm trying to show when you get done. There, yeah. Look up at the Nape Indians is unbroken history settlement. Blah 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 blah. You just showed it somewhere, and it was somewhere where it just said it was a corporation. I said, well, damn.
Oh.
I can't see it, but what I'm trying to show is America is a corporation and it's an entity. The only way to show that through is if y'all show my screen. Hey, can you see if my screen is showing on the on YouTube?
Yeah, I have. I'm seeing it.
Hey, Casper, push on my thing real quick so we can see if we can see my screen. So I'd like to show the people this though, so when we can understand that America is a corporation, and we could, or America is an entity. You know what I'm saying? And the only way you can find out that America is an entity, and it's like my brother Supreme El Bay said, that we're under a papal bull, which is a servant of servants of God. That's what the papal bull is right here that says on my screen. It's the papal bull, and it's the servant of servants of God. So, and in the Bible it says we're not even allowed to be servants of servants because God will not recognize you.
Okay.
So they made us servants of servants, and the only way to look this up in is a EIN number, which I'm gonna show you right here, and that's what all corporations is, which is a government agency, an Indian tribal entity, a trust, a estate, and churches.
An employer,
I'm
okay.
not saying church don't run America. I'm just trying to say people that's in the churches, which is by the millions, is a force. And we shouldn't be in the churches like he's saying. It's a corporation, bro. It says it right here.
No, it actually doesn't say it's a corporation. It says an EIN is an for employers, corporations, etc., and tribes, government agencies. Why would it be? Why would it have corporations separate if those other things were corporations? That would just be redundant. You just basically showed me right there that government agencies are not corporations. They're in a distinct category.
Hey, Casper, put your thing on pause. You like doing something?
Hold on, I'm gonna prove them wrong. I'm looking for the paperwork now. I got it in the library.
Hey, y'all, the EIN number, even if I am wrong, he just said that the EIN number is for employers, like I said, corporations, and government agencies, which is different. They're all different entities. I agree with him on that. But the same way you do a corporation is the same form you do a government agency.
How so?
So if it's not a corporation, it's the same entity. It's the same files to file. You have to file the same paperwork.
But it's not a corporation. To get an EIN number.
I can't argue with you. You got
I mean, your entire argument here has been that the United States and ensuing agencies are corporations, and here you go. They're all distinct from that. Now, there are public corporations that are owned by the government. I mean, Amtrak is one example. The U.S. Postal Service is another. But just because those things are corporations, owned by the government, doesn't mean that the government itself is a corporation.
No, I'm saying that when the IRS was made in the 18 and 1900s, they filled out these paperworks and did the same thing a corporation did. So if you're saying they're not a corporation, they're an entity, fine. But they filled out all this paperwork right here too.
Well, yeah, a government agency can be an employer, right? I mean, the state of New Jersey employs people to help run the state. So for tax purposes, they need to have an EIN. Just because they have an EIN does not thereby make them a corporation. It's just that they're an employer.
I have the fucking.
Whether in the public or private, they're an employer.
Man. What are you talking
Non-profit
about?
nonprofit organizations can be an employer.
Okay, we still got it that it's an entity. So you're saying that an entity is not a legal fiction?
I didn't say that.
So isn't a legal fiction a corporation?
No.
So a legal fiction is not a sole proprietor.
A sole proprietor can be a legal fiction, or a corporation can be a legal fiction, but a legal fiction does not, saying something that's a legal fiction does not automatically mean it's a corporation.
The U.S. only exists on paper. Point blank, period.
I mean, if you want to go into the philosophical mindset, yeah. But it's recognized by, the people. And it's enforced by the people.
No, it's not enforced by the people.
It's granted powers by the people.
Corporate people who work for the so-called government. It's not even the government.
Let me talk real quick. Listen, in 1871, with the passage of the Act of 1871, a state within a state called the District of Columbia, located on 10 square miles of land in the heart of Washington, D.C., was formed with its own flag and its own independent constitution, the United States secret second constitution.
Mr. Bay, we already talked about this, and if y'all see what I have on my screen, let me go ahead and Share the screen here.
Y'all see this,
It's
right?
a part of the Crown Colony, man. Look at here. It's a fucking corporation.
Here we go. What do you see? This is the law 1871, an act to provide a government for the District of Columbia. This is the law that you and I had a long discussion about, that I gave you, the exact statute, and it says absolutely nothing about what you just said. We went through it all.
Nah, I don't know.
This is direct from the congressional record.
Listen, instead of having absolute and unalienable rights guaranteed under the organic constitution, we the people now have relative rights or privileges. One example is the sovereign's right to travel, which has now been transformed under corporate government policy into a privilege that requires citizens to be licensed. Notice keyword citizens, driver's license, and passports. Congress committed treason against the people who were sovereign under the grants and decrees of the Declaration of Independence and the organic constitution.
Mr. Bay, you could. Are you seriously just regurgitating what some random website is telling me?
Just rebut him, Artie. Let him go, Artie.
Okay, go ahead.
As of 1871, the United States isn't a country, it's a corporation. In the preparation for still in America, the puppets of Britain's banking cabal had already created a second government, a shadow government, designed to manage what the people believed was a democracy or demon. But what really was incorporated was in the United States.
Together did you seriously just equate democracy with demon? Come on, man.
Federal government, U.S. is a corporation, not a country. The United States, in capitals, in parentheses, isn't a country, it's a corporation. Was created for the District of Columbia, aka Washington, D.C. Not even a state, via the Act of 1871.
And I'm showing you on my screen right now that very act, an act to provide a government for the District of Columbia, passed February 21st, 1871. It established a territorial government for that geographic location. It says nothing about a bankruptcy. It says nothing about a corporation for the United States. It says nothing about how everything else is not subject to the federal government. And you're saying that what you're regurgitating from some random ass site trumps the congressional fucking record.
Let's not cut him off.
I'm giving you the direct citation from the congressional record. You're giving me a website.
I ain't giving you no website. Man, let me pull these fucking papers up, man. I'm still looking though.
Show the congressional thing again.
41st Congress, 3rd Session, 1871. I got this direct from the congressional record. You can go to the official website.
That's going for what we're saying, though.
And what way? All it did, again, I'm telling you, it says direct that you can read it yourself, that it's establishing a territorial government for the District of Columbia. It says it says nothing about the broader application of the federal government to the United States or to everybody else. And more to the point, as I said earlier, this was repealed 3 years later in 1874.
Authority to do that. Who gives them the authority to do it? First of all,
Congress. Congress has the under the Constitution. Congress has the direct control over what happens in the District of Columbia. Why else have they
authorized the Constitution? Who authorized the Constitution?
The individual, the 13 colonies through ratification.
They made a whole new constitution.
You should have just let him talk because your question is right. You have the only question to ask. There's no other question. Before 17 or 8, wherever that paper is, whatever the Congress is, it came from somebody had to give it right. You just have to let him get done, brother. That's the only question. That's the punchline. Who gave him the authority? Who gave them the authority? So it has to be a written contract.
Who gave them the authority? As far as what, the 1871? The Constitution gave Congress the authority to direct and control the affairs of the District of Columbia. If you're asking me who gave anybody the Constitution authority, I can give you that too.
There you go. Who gave the Constitution authority?
The 13 colonies ratified the Constitution in 1791.
I didn't hear you, brother.
The 13 colonies ratified the Constitution, and it went into effect in 1791. And by ratification, it was through referendum by the citizens of each colony.
Yes, they ratified.
Nah, you ain't gonna just get off with just that.
What?
That means they redid it.
I'm dropping facts. If you don't like it, tough.
No, I'm saying.
Hey, bro. Hey. You just gonna have to come deeper than that. You
You tell me to go come deeper while you're citing to me blog posts. But okay.
Who gave them the authority to do business here in Morocco? I'm gonna ask you that question one more time, brother.
Who the fuck told you that this was from Morocco in the first place, my friend?
Right.
Now you're gonna have to drop me this revisionist history right here. Please tell me how this is Morocco. Because I'm pretty sure the Iroquois Confederacy will have something to say about that.
The longest treaty, what is the longest treaty that's held in America today? It's the Peace and Friendship Treaty of Morocco and Tripoli. And America, hold on, sir. The first time America was made, it only had 3 states. Delaware, it had Pennsylvania, and it had New Jersey. Them was the only 3 states for at least 5 years. Them is Tripoli because tri means 3 and poli means city. It was 3 cities that they came into. They did not have to go across the sea and sign no contract with people in Sandland, Morocco. This was Morocco. I could be wrong.
Because Morocco over there wasn't created until 1956. So who in the hell was George Washington writing to as the Sultan of Morocco? If this wasn't Morocco over here to do business, come on, G, come on.
We don't have to argue with
Morocco apparently did exist at the time. I don't know where you're getting your information from.
I'm not.
It did. It's called America.
No, Morocco at that time.
The most furthest west. That's what it's called. Yes, that's what it's called.
According to what I'm finding, Morocco did exist as a sultanate.
Let me get his turn now.
I mean, I don't know where you're getting your information from that Morocco did not exist until 1956, because I'm looking at the Kingdom of Morocco as it was, then, and it was still around.
The Kingdom of Morocco, I said the Empire. The Empire of Morocco, man.
Well,
I'm trying to change the subject, man, to answer the question.
What are you talking about, Empire of Morocco? What Empire of Morocco?
Can I answer that, Supreme? I will. See, he ain't understanding that the treaty was signed over here. The first treaty of America, America wasn't America until 1778. Before then, it was Morocco. They signed the treaty.
Oh my God.
They signed the treaty, brother.
I'm sorry, can you provide me the text of the treaty that it said that the United States or the land of the United States was actually Morocco?
Yes, hold on. Just look up the Peace and Friendship Treaty of America. Morocco.
I know, I'm looking at the Peace and Friendship Treaty, and it has fuck all to do with the idea that Morocco was within North America.
What do it say, brother? It says Morocco American Treaty.
Right.
That's saying, hold on, let me just say one thing and then you get your rebuttal. I only need a quick second. The 13 colonies signed a treaty with who, brother? They ratified whose constitution, brother?
Wait, ratified whose constitution?
Yes, from 1790.
Ratified. It was not made. Hold on, y'all. The ratified means did over stuff that was made on to. The Constitution wasn't new over here. It was ratified, redid, redone. America new colonies united and came together and signed a treaty with who? That's who I'm asking. That's what I'm asking. That's my question. Who did they sign the treaty with?
Well, who as in the United States colonies?
Yes.
Morocco, over in Morocco in Africa.
Nah, you wrong.
You
wrong.
I mean,
So the mighty,
yeah.
So the mighty 13 colonies.
No,
well,
what I'm seeing here is at the time that the treaty was signed, it was 1786. That was at the time that the U.S. was under the Articles of Confederation. It wasn't under the the Constitution yet.
What are the Articles of Confederation? Where did that come from? Who was here when they got here?
Who was here when? What are you talking about? Who was here when they got here?
When they pulled their ass up over here, bro. Don't give me this.
Who was here? Who was in North America? The Iroquois Confederation, Algonquin tribes, other various Native American tribes.
Everybody in the chat like this debate, bro. It's cool, bro. You answer. I mean, but he got to talk though.
I'm just saying he trying to be fucking sarcastic and.
3 of us though. We got him though. We got him, bro. You asking them good questions. I'm not going against you. You see,
got me.
But you're just being real aggressive. Let him go though, so people can see where he wrong at or we wrong. We got
you were asking me who was here prior to the colonies, and I gave you the answer. There was the Iroquois Confederation, Algonquin tribes, and various other Native American tribes.
Did you just say the Algonquin tribe? Did I just hear you say that?
Yeah, they used to be in control of what's now Manhattan.
The Iroquois Confederacy?
The Iroquois people? Yeah, which was...
why isn't the treaty called...
that's my people. That's my people. That's where I come from.
I'm just asking...
Those are copper-colored people.
Okay.
Those are more.
Why didn't
the treaty had to do with merchants sailing and piracy in Morocco.
Merchants, sea merchants, huh?
Right. Yes. Trade treaties are a thing.
Hold on. What year was this?
By 1786, I think it was signed June 28, 1786.
Yes, he's correct. All I'm trying to say is if it was the Algonquins, it would have been the Algonquin Treaty with the United States. It wouldn't have been the Morocco. If it was the Pequot or the Lenape of New York or the Amsterdam people, it would have been the Amsterdam Treaty. This was called the Morocco Treaty, and the Americans and the Moroccans had a situation where they came together and signed the longest treaty in America.
Yeah, the Barbary Treaty, 1786 through 1816, treaty with Morocco, June 28th and July 15th, 1786. I mean, this had to deal with the Barbary piracy that was going on in that part of Africa, and that they wanted to have that sort of an arrangement with that country or that kingdom. So why would you think that they would need to discuss this with the Iroquois Confederacy when it has nothing to do with the Iroquois Confederacy?
Not a fact, brother. That's not a fact.
Because
That's not a fact. George Washington had to send a letter to the Sultan of Morocco because he was trying to duck him.
Let me see here.
What the Moors were doing was jacking the fucking ships. Get the story straight.
Relations were formalized with the Moroccan Treaty of Friendship, negotiated by Thomas Barclay in Marrakesh and signed by the American diplomats in Europe, Thomas Jefferson, John Adams, with Sultan Mohammed III in 1786.
Talking about? We wasn't in fucking Africa. We was here in America.
That's what you think. If that's what you think, that's fine. Go for it.
I'm not saying that's what
motherfucker. That's what I know. I know my people's fucking history and background. What you trying to tell me? I'm a nigga?
Whoa! Wow! You gonna drop that, huh?
Nah, bro.
I had nothing. I didn't say a goddamn thing about that. You gonna drop that?
He got the right.
You gonna drop that? You just lost the fucking argument with that one, my friend. You just lost the motherfucking argument.
Supreme,
that's fucking condescending.
You know that you won this debate until you got in your emotions. You won it for us. Your questions.
No, I'm just saying, bro. Don't talk.
This guy's trying to accuse me of being a racist here.
You're not finna do that. Period. point blank range. You're not finna talk down on my ancestors, bro. And that's
I ain't
basically what
talking
your
down on
condescending
anybody,
ass
man. I'm just
said.
telling you that your
Period.
idea
Period.
of
That's what I want to
Morocco
hear.
being
That's
here in
That's
North
what I know,
America is a
man.
bunch of bullshit that you
Supreme,
haven't figured out
the
or
chat
found
is
and
liking your
substantiated.
questions, bro. They're liking the debate, Supreme. They're liking what you're doing. Just don't let it overtake you. If he's doing something wrong, the chat is feeling it, bro. You winning.
All right, bro. Just don't disrespect me and my heritage no more, bro, because I ain't disrespect you. One time. Don't do that, bro.
He's saying that he think it's from Africa. That's just what I'm
Nah,
getting. I'm not on his
we was
side.
already here. My people was already here. That's a known fact.
But the treaties is saying it, brother, and me and you are going against the treaties. Not just you, me too. So don't knock this him. Just we got to just show the public that it was over here. I'm agreeing with you. Don't think I'm going against you, Supreme. Islam, 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 bro. Never think I'm going against you, Islam. But
Islam.
we just can't tell him that he's wrong because the treaties is backing up what he's saying.
Saying that was just a condescending remark for him to make. I take that shit to the heart. I know where I come from. I know who my people are. I know what went on.
You say that, but then you like to dictate. You say that, but then you dictate to the non-Moorish people where they're from.
You can go get it. You can go get this from. You
take pride in where you're from, and you declare where your nationality and where you're from. But on more than one occasion, I gotten more than one thing on people saying that I'm a Albion, or I'm from someplace where I don't belong, simply because I don't have the same color skin as you. So don't go on this high horse about your heritage when I get the same kind of shit from you guys.
That's facts though, brother. I feel you. And there's a lot of us that still, we just had this conversation. We still a little going through our things too though, where we finding out that all this history isn't real though. But I don't think you said nothing, but just know a lot of us do take this stuff a little serious though, but just the treaties is backing up what you're saying.
I never said that. I never called you an Albion. I don't know what the fuck your nationality is because I really can't see you. So I didn't disrespect you in that way. And I'm as a man, because that's what we all are. We men on this motherfucker unless we little boys, which I'm not. You know what I'm saying? We men first. That's it. That's all. That's all I'm saying, brother. I didn't ever come at you in that way. And that's my heritage. And I'm standing on it. I know this for a fact. You can't tell me nothing different.
But the
shit was passed down to me traditionally. I went to the so-called tribal dances and powwows, the so-called powwows. It was black faces that I went to see doing these dances, bruh. What are you talking about? So you coming from a Christianized, educated background. I'm coming from true history and shit that I didn't live. You know what I'm saying? So I'm giving you law with history. Because that's the most important part of this debate or discussion or whatever the fuck we having on here. That's the most important thing is people get the history right. Once you get the history together, you can understand the laws that's been put in place, because there's a difference between legal and lawful. You got to understand allodial titles. You got to understand titles and nobility, titles of nobility. You know what I'm saying? Congress can't get it. That's in the Constitution. You dig what I'm saying? The Constitution was put in place so these people wouldn't abuse their power. They was given a 50-year memorandum to do business here at Morocco, and they stayed. You know what I'm saying? Why? Because that's the kind of people we are. You know what I'm saying? But the people that's in place, they're not upholding their oaths of office. To be an officer, you must be elected by the people. It's we the people for the people.
Yeah, you
not the government or the de facto corporation.
Elected office. They don't get elected.
Now let's get back to the conversation that was at hand, because that's what I want to address.
Well, I was going to offer here in response.
Let's get back to the Treaty of Peace and Friendship. Let's get back to that.
You can't get your emotions when the treaties is going for what he's saying. He's saying whatever we saying, who cares if it's right or wrong? He's going to go with the treaties. It's up to us to give our debate. Even if we feel that he's saying something assholeish, The treaties is backing up the stuff he's saying. So we got to just show the people that we're not. We could just back up our statements.
I didn't hear what he said.
Here's what I was going to say.
Elaborate on what he said. Because I had to step away a couple
notwithstanding what we want to say. Notwithstanding who was here first, each and everyone's history, we can go back to the idea of, the application of the law as it currently is. So what I would say to that is, regardless of whether or not, your view on who was here first, we can still have a discussion on the applicability of driver's licenses, of the right to travel, and jurisdiction, and who is responsible for adhering to the law and who isn't.
But I like how you said that. It's to some of us, that's all it's about, is who was here first, because we know that there was a lot of so-called red white men here. There was a lot of so-called Indian-looking people here. Now we're coming to find out that we was here. See, we're just coming into this information, so there's a lot of money, a lot of history, and there's a lot of beautiful spiritual awakening going on. So some of that's the main priority.
Let me respond to that though. Even if we were to say that you were correct that y'all were here first, well, throughout history, to the winner goes the spoils, in the sense of conquerors and invaders have come and gone throughout the world history. So regardless of who came first, here we are now. The colonies won, and so they get to dictate the rules. Just as the Norman French in 1066 invaded England, the Norman French took over all of England and established what's now England. Invasions, conquering, that's happened all throughout history. So the idea of I was here first, 300 years ago, no one's going to care.
I mean, I can't knock that if you say that, but in law, if I went to England or if I went to Africa, hold on, brother, if I went to England or Africa, I wouldn't go over there and have a thought of having a right to them lands. I would go over there and be lawful and everything, because that's the laws of the land. So now that the people of America are waking up, and all these people that came over here to visit or came over here and have great indigenous rights or belong to this land, they have to understand that it's ours. I digress. And not just ours. There's a lot of white people from over here too. I'm not racist. I believe that I'm a so-called Irish. I'm not just one of these. You might miss. There's a lot of us that believe that there's a lot of people from over here, and it's not just black people, but us so-called black people. We from over here, bro, and we have a right to know that. And there's a lot of money in that, and that's going to our status. I digress.
That's exactly what it's about. It's about status, man. And you can't overstand it unless you understand what I was trying to convey to AJ. What's your name again, bro?
But we can't get in our Artie. We can't get in our emotions, because I think he respects you, and there's gonna be a lot of assholes out here that's gonna be disrespectful, calling us names. I just don't think he understand our emotions over we just coming in this information and we want our fucking shit. We're trying to get it.
Well, I guess my whole bit is there ain't nothing there.
They're bound by law to protect our rights. That's first of all. What is liberty? That would be my first question to you. Do you know what liberty is? And do you know what freedom is? Because if someone is keeping you from your liberty, then they're keeping you from your freedom. We're not dealing with ordinances, because that's legal. That's legal talk. We're talking lawful.
And again, I would go to the same thing as I said before. There is no distinction between something that's legal and something that's lawful. and it's never been recognized by anybody.
Codes and ethics. Yes, yeah.
Statutes and codes are just another form of law.
My rights, bro. I don't deal with civil rights. I deal with natural law and human rights. That's the only way it can be.
But this
we're
ain't
not dealing with crayons. We're dealing with human beings.
Showing. He just said that there's no difference. Now let's show him. Let's show him the difference between code of law and private and public law. We just can't get emotionally mad at him. We could do this easy. We Moors, bro. We fucking Moors, my brother.
So I'm not even pissed off. I'm just, this is my energy. This how I am. When it's something I know about, I get overexcited. I'm passionate about the shit because it's too much confusion that's going on out here. People pulling these narratives, want to call Moors sovereign citizens. That's a fucking oxymoron.
Well, sovereign citizen was a label that the original people who were arguing the kind of legal tactics that you're arguing now, that's what they self-described themselves as, and so it kind of stuck. And that's something I don't know if you guys are even aware of, that the legal ideas that you guys have talking about the U.S. as a corporation, the Act of 1871, this does not originate with the Moorish ideology. This was formulated in the late 60s and the early 1970s by tax protesters.
Yeah, but this information was brought 40 years before that movement even occurred, 60 years before that movement even occurred. And it has nothing to do with the people that you're talking about. Sovereignty comes with nationality. And that's what I'm trying to get you to understand. Can't be sovereign on somebody else's.
Nations are sovereign. Nations are sovereign.
We wasn't slaves, first of all.
But again, I'm just saying that the moniker of sovereign citizen wasn't a product of the state. It wasn't the product of the government. It was a product of people who were advocating the same sort of legal tactics as you are now, and it kind of just stuck, and it became therefore a catch-all for those who advocate or those who argue with this in court.
Facts. It's a legal standing. Is that what
such thing as a advocating that we are now? It's either we're enforcing the Constitution or you're not enforcing.
It's not.
You're not enforcing the Constitution. You're creating freedom. It's like every lawyer, attorney, prosecutor, or imposters, and not the government. And that's what we need to really get and understand.
Hey, Casper,
nature, like you just said, if we kill y'all and we conquer your land, then we can make the rules and everything. So we feel like everything you say is true, and that's why black and legal status is an important topic. We need to know that we're the free white person, and they're the foreigners, and they're the aliens, and the land. Say rules, because we're the creditors and y'all the debitors. Y'all living off of our birthright and our state, and the time is up. You can't still go for mom. You gotta go home.
Well, the thing is that Casper, you could say this. You can make these declarations. You can make these affirmations. You can make some declaratory statements all you want, and I'm going to tell you that none of it has ever flown in any recognized court in the United States.
He is to jump on that, and I'm not just talk for a minute. As soon as I say something, he wanted to try to.
I let you talk. I let you ramble for the last 45 seconds.
That's the real truth. Go ahead, you can say, guys.
We thought you was done, Casper.
I thought you were done, and I'll say what I said earlier is that you can make all the declaratory statements, all the affirmations, all you want, and you could say that we're the creditors or you're the creditors and we're the debtors. You're in control, we're not in control. But I will show you time and time again, court case after court case after court case after court case of all folks who are saying the exact same thing as you, who are advocating the exact same things as you, who are failing miserably. Their cases are getting dismissed as gibberish, and they are getting longer sentences for crimes or for civil punishments because they keep putting this up in court and nobody's buying it.
So
Now,
a lot
let
of
me ask you, what
European-
nationality of people is doing this and not winning? Because I can prove you wrong on cases, people who went to court standing on law and their cases was thrown out. I'm one of them.
I don't think their nationality matters.
Jurisdiction matters, brother. What are you talking about?
Yeah, jurisdiction matters. The jurisdiction has nothing to do with nationality.
It has to.
None of these
It
cases.
has to. And first of all, courts can't. All crimes are commercial. First
No,
of all,
that's incorrect.
If no one is
Hey, y'all,
injured, if there's no injured party or there's no damaged property.
Can y'all?
You just said jurisdiction don't have nothing to do with nationality. Now we keep going around here and having these fucking like frivolous ass goddamn discussions, man. This shit is sickening. Let's prove something right or wrong. Let's quit these little arguments. There's a lot of great topics and people in the chat. We got to get out of our emotions, man.
Can y'all hear?
I can. Well, you're kind of breaking up.
Hey, can you hear me now?
Yeah, root words. Look up the Sundry Free Moors case for me, brother, and pull it up and show this brother for me.
Yes, sir. I'm not trying to run nobody's situation. I think Casper wanted to say something.
Oh, y'all hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Loud and clear, bro.
All right. What
I think he's breaking up.
All of these
hey, you breaking up? You breaking up real bad, Casper. Super bad, bro.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
That you talking about these people that's fighting the case?
Hey man, you might need to redo your hey, come back on, like redo your phone thing. Your shit is it's bad, bro. It's bad, bro.
Yeah, you breaking up bad, bro.
Breaking up bad?
Yeah, you are.
Yeah.
All right, hold on.
Already look up the free Sundry Free Moors case.
Do you have a citation to that? That I can look up?
Probably to check the Library of Congress. See if you can pull it up on there. I think that's where I pulled it off from.
Is it a federal case or a state case or?
Yeah, it was from like the 1700s or some shit.
Yo, can y'all hear me now better?
Yeah, I can hear you now, bro.
You can hear me better now?
Yeah.
Loud and clear.
All of these courtrooms are military tribunals. They're not even real courtrooms. You heard me?
I think so.
I'm not trying to say that we're right or wrong. I just think us as Moors with internets, we could bring this information more than saying it. I know you right there, military tribunals, but I just think he's too slick for us just to say something. He could come back with something. So if we show it, I think, you know what I'm saying? I just think stuff we could show more than just talking.
What you mean by that?
Like the war in
reference points.
All right, well look, if you go up in there, you look at the flag, you see the gold trimming around the flag. They'll let you know it's a military flag.
Which has a claim that has been shot down over and over again in every case I've looked up.
No, it doesn't.
What about the coup? When they couped the law in 1856 and it's still going on as a war? There are sources and points to everything you're saying, brother. You're right.
Coup the law?
There was a coup.
A coup. In 1856.
Let me make sure I get these years correctly. Hold on.
Because
and it's the war that's been going. We have not been out of war. It's 1871, the Ku Klux Klan Act, which is the first Civil Rights Act. 1871. I'm looking it up right now. 1871.
Okay.
Don't forget the Magna Charta and the Doctrine of Discovery and the Clearfield Doctrine.
I mean, but them ain't dealing with stuff I'm talking about right now. I'm talking about
doctrine of what does the doctrine of discovery have anything to do with the Magna Carta? Do you not understand those are two different things?
That's all of y'all operations that y'all operating under right now.
The United States does not operate under the Magna Carta. What?
I thought we were talking about war law.
Devon Bay is kind of throwing more shit out there. Sorry. So
yeah, I don't understand neither though. If we trying to debunk if this is war law or not, we shouldn't go nowhere else. I'm just trying to show where we're still under a war act.
Go ahead. And that's my fault.
No, I'm not trying to go against you. I'm just like, it's the Ku Klux Klan.
I'm just throwing some reference points at the viewers that's going to be watching this and want to learn and get education from this, so they can go look up some stuff on their own and start getting themselves liberated. All of his subscribers that watch this, that's going to be hating, they're going to get the truth out of this too. I'm going to give them the reference points. We're going to argue over topics. We're going to debate over topics, but I'm going to give them the truth too. So go ahead.
Hey, did you, are you still live?
Nah, I ended my YouTube, so hopefully they're going to record it and we're going to get it that way, because I wanted to see what was going on with my stream, but I'm going to try to come back live on YouTube right now. You heard me?
Hey, man, you know the world want to see this. I'm glad we ain't on YouTube no more, man. You know the world want to see this.
Right.
The world is seeing this.
Even who cares who's right or wrong, man. This is a good build, y'all.
Yeah.
I fall back on that, man.
The world is seeing this on my channel.
My channel too, bro. I'm pushing this out too, though. I ain't trying to say nobody right or wrong.
Yeah, we're gonna take it. We're gonna rip it from his channel when it's done anyway. So I know my thing be skipping sometimes, but it's all good. I'm about to start it back up again.
Let me see here. This was a Bay versus Barnett, 2018, U.S. District, Lexus, 190734. This looks like a family court proceeding. Neither plaintiff's reliance on the Treaty of Peace and Friendship nor the proposed Sundry-Free Moors Act of 2012 provides the court the jurisdiction over this case challenging family court proceedings. C.E.G. Bay versus City of Rochester. Parentheses, plaintiffs claim that the Treaty of Peace and Friendship provides a basis for immunity from application of law is not plausible. Here's one from a Metaphysic Electromagnetic Supreme L versus Director of the Department of Corrections, 2015 U.S. District Lexus 25603.
Debate right here that we're doing. I'm probably gonna end up ripping the whole debate from this other dude's platform. This is just a live debate with me and my brother Supreme L Bay, Root Words, and Outtrex Lives, the YouTube lawyer. I call him a YouTube lawyer. We're gonna share the split screen and we're gonna let y'all hear it for yourself. Make sure y'all click the link in the bio. If you wanna join us, give me your address and I can send you the notification on Google Hangouts. I'm gonna let y'all hear the debate. We're gonna get in straight into it. Let's go.
Hey, Supreme was getting in you on them couple questions though. If he wouldn't have gotten his emotions, man, he might have knocked you out there. I think you would have hung up on him, man. Artie.
Who? What? Me?
I'm just joking. I'm just giving hell. I'm just talking.
I'm used to this, so.
That's what's up. I like your conversation though, man. You just make us sharpen the.
I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I better stop taking it easy on him, because before I even knew, I looked at his videos and he got a video debunking Moran.
Oh, by all means, Devon Bay, take off them gloves, man. Let's throw hands.
The Moors heavy. So,
hey, the Moors and people on his channel, because I don't know what my brother Artie what his channel was about, though, but they need to see stuff like this. It's short, sharp enough story. I like this build.
Let me see here from what is this? United States versus Wooten, 2004, U.S. District Lexus 17514. This is individual also cited the Sundry-Free Moors Act of 1790. In some evidence, clearly supported the jury's determination the defendant did not act in good faith, that the money orders were lawful. The court will deny his motion for a new trial. It seems like any time I see somebody mentioning this Sundry Free Remorse Act, it doesn't really end well for the individual.
Peace. I'm glad I don't mention the Sundry Free Remorse. What up? What's good? What's poppin'?
Yeah, we've been talking about everything from the whole stuff.
What happened?
And I wanted you to get in here. We've been breaking down a lot of things like debating and dialoguing over the whole sovereign citizen thing, the whole right to travel, whole United States.
There's no such thing. But there's no such thing as sovereign citizen.
I think we already had that discussion ad nauseum, so we don't need to bring that back up again.
Oh yeah, it's a whole lot, man. That ain't got no such thing in law called sovereign citizen at all, man. So I just actually got on here. I didn't even know how this thing worked, bro. I ain't gonna front.
But there is a sovereign right, though. There is sovereignty in America. You can't.
Well, this is the thing. This is the thing that people keep, and it's why I understand what he's talking about. How it doesn't end up well, because if even down to the sovereign right, it's a collective thing. It's not an individual thing. It's a collective thing. If you study the federal government, that's sovereign. If you study the federal government, it'll tell you in any law dictionary from Black's Law, Ballantyne's, Bouvier's, Blackstone, it will tell you what it is. You know, it's in there. It's not hidden from anyone. But the definition of sovereign people is the political body. It says consisting of the entire number of citizens and qualified electors, but in their collective capacity possesses the power of sovereignty. That's what that is. But in the key inside there, it says, see Scott versus Sanford case. So if anyone studied the 120 something pages of that Dred Scott case, because most people only quote one part, it's over 100 and something pages of that case. And if you read that case thoroughly, if anybody ever went to law school or in law school or an attorney, that case is a Supreme Court case. And that case tells you that the Africans that was imported into the country plays no part of sovereignty. This in the Dred Scott case. So if you read that and you went back to the law, you will understand how they flipped everything around. It don't exist, period.
Well,
I just left Spain and I just left Morocco. They talk about sovereignty over there.
Well, I would.
Wasn't no slaves ever came over here. They was talking about the people that was sovereign to this land in Dred Scott. It wasn't even Supreme Court. Wasn't even. I mean, this is different. You might want to look at this, Sabir. You might want to just look at what this conversation about though, because
I was going to say with Sabir, I would agree with a good chunk of what he just said right there.
Hold on, just about me though. I'm just trying to say because this is every man had their own turn. Slaves came over here and landed and then went to court. Dred Scott was a more aboriginal of this land that has no African nothing in him, and this is our rightful land. We have heirs to this right when we start doing it right.
Okay, let me say this. Let me say this.
One more thing. Slaves don't have the right to go to court. They have no rights. They never will have no rights. The only people that have the right to go to court was Dred Scott, and that was a nobleman of this land. I digress.
Well, this is the thing. I hear people saying a lot of things, brother, and it's a lot of things that I just went to Spain and Morocco to see. And a lot of stuff that is being said, brother, is not 100% correct. And like I said, it's a difference when you read something from a book or you take that trip and you really go do some in-depth research studying. Like, people are regurgitating what they see on YouTube, Facebook. You know, I'm like, I can shut that down in a heartbeat too. So there's no fact that he was from here. So this is the thing again. Was he really from here? And I asked the question again. Have y'all all read the Dred Scott case? So again, in the Dred Scott decision, it says those Africans that was imported into this country and sold as slaves. So that case, man, is over 100 and something pages. And I say this, and I'm gonna say it again. A lot of Moors have not read that case. A lot of people keep saying, well, I saw a video and it said we were here. Where? What part? Was it South America? What part? So
hey, Sabir Bay.
we got
fake, bro. It's just fucking fake. It's fake as fuck.
Yeah, I know. No, I know it's fake. No, listen to me. It's not necessarily fake.
Slavery's fake.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They said
ain't no Europeans and ain't no Africans and ain't no Arabians could jump and take no Negroes. We hit hard, we faster than everybody, and we invented everybody. So anybody
this is why. Can I say why this happened? Can I tell you why this happened? I'm gonna tell you why this happened. When I was over in, I just had this conversation on Facebook. Me and a brother was just talking about. He said, "Sabir, I hear a lot of people talk about Egypt and East Africa, right?" He said, "Well, how did slavery get started?" I was sitting in Spain. This was in August and September. I just came back again yesterday, right? We fought amongst each other and we sold each other into slavery. We're doing it right now. So if we want to take the word slave out of it, right? If you just want to take the word, and I can go into dissecting that word too, because I have a book called The German Slave Girl. So they were slaves too. There's a book, you should look it up, called The German Slave Girl. So people say, well, it wasn't no slaves, right? Then what were we called? Indentured, or how do you want to word it? Because the reality is that the definition of it is the Russians captured by the Germans. It's a Slavic people, right? So how are we looking at this subject? And this is why we keep losing, brother. And honestly, people, we are losing because we're not selling both sides of the story. Hold on 1 second. I'm on daddy duty, homie. Give me 1 second.
You take care of your girl.
All right.
Hold on 1 second.
Cool.
Hey, these are the two type of this is the war that's going on in America right now, and for the last 50 and 60 years, all the so-called black people have been claiming this African slave stuff, whether it's right or wrong or whatever. And now there's a force of people out here that's saying that fuck Africa. How about that one?
Yeah, I heard about that too.
Yeah, we just don't claim that shit. Hold on, brother. I just want to get my 2 seconds out. So I'm saying that you don't have the right, brother, claiming Africa to tell the history of the people of America, just like we don't have the right to tell y'all's history. Y'all went through slavery, we didn't. So you know, there's two different types of Moors. There's y'all that claim that Morocco over there is Morocco, and it's us that claim that this is the Al-Moroccan Empire and slavery fake, and we don't believe in that shit. So, you know, it's just two different sides of the story, which I ain't saying you wrong, bro. I'm just trying to tell the brother on here, there's two different wars going on in America, mental wars.
Yeah, it's a whole lot of wars going on all over, G. It ain't just here.
I mean,
trust me.
All right, can I get a word in edgewise? Because there's a lot going on in here. I mean, as I was saying with Sabir, I was in agreement with him in many respects, especially in regards to sovereignty and how sovereignty is interpreted in our modern parlance. However, his issue regarding the Dred Scott decision, well, I mean, whatever you want to say about Dred Scott, it was superseded. I mean, what has been said in Dred Scott has no relevance to our current law at all. It's been superseded by statute and superseded by the 14th Amendment. So I don't know what relevance Dred Scott has to this discussion.
Okay, let me explain this to you real quick, right? It has a lot of relevance to it right now. And I'm explaining to you why. Give me 1 second, IG. Dred Scott case has never, ever been overturned. The 14th Amendment never overturned the Dred Scott decision. This is why I said if you ever read the Dred Scott case, it's in there. What they have done is created another class of citizenship under the Amendment, which is a federal citizenship. You have two types of citizens, federal and state citizens. If anybody pick up any law dictionary or you can go to Words and Phrases, Corpus Juris.
Nope, we lost him.
What they have done is created another class of citizenship. They created a citizenship under the 14th Amendment, which are federal citizens, which are basically federal subjects. And that's why they said they could never make black citizens or African citizens. But they can never do that. That's not the Congress' job. 1 second, Ashi. This is what you do when you multitask, fam. But they could never ever get citizens under the 14th Amendment.
Well, I don't know. Again, I don't know where you're getting your information from on this idea. I mean, again, you're not. This is arguments that I've heard long before, and the courts have also heard long before, and the courts have rejected outright. I mean, again, that's where I'm getting my situation here is that every single time I've seen these kinds of arguments put forth in court for a host of different reasons, whether it's criminal, civil, family, it has been rejected outright as nonsense and as gibberish. I mean, I have something right here. Taylor Bay versus State, 53 NE3D 1230. Says Taylor Bay also argues that the trial court did not have personal jurisdiction over him because he's not a United States citizen, but rather a Moorish American national. Taylor Bay relies on Dred Scott versus Sanford, 60 U.S. 393, for this proposition. However, the 14th Amendment to the United States Constitution provides that all persons born naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside. The 14th Amendment overturned the Dred Scott decision and made, quote, all persons born within the United States and subject to its jurisdiction citizens of the United States, end quote. Quoting the Slaughterhouse Cases, 83 U.S. 36, 1873.
I know about all those cases. Let me explain to you. Let me break this Constitution down, what you just said. The 14th Amendment, number one, the preamble don't say this. The preamble says, we the people, under any kind of corporate law from corpus juris secundum, if you just read the definition of person, they classify persons as corporations. This is what is going on. So
no, that's incorrect.
Into the history. Oh, brother. Well,
it's actually no, because
you want me to walk you to walk you through.
Hold on, Artie. Rebut him. Let him talk, Artie. Rebut him, Artie. Let him talk.
If you want me to walk you through this so I can tell you or quote it for you, I can, right? I can walk you to any law dictionary if you look up the definition of person, right? I can walk you to the highest, which is corpus juris secundum, and under person, that is the highest, right? Then you coming down to the words and phrases. These things can be found in any law library. If you can meet up with me, I will walk you through this. Now, let me explain this 14th Amendment piece. Read it, and if I pull my 14th Amendment out, I'll let you see it. It created another form of system. This is why it says listen to this. All persons born or naturalized is subject to the jurisdiction thereof and are citizens of the United States and the state where they reside. The states created territorial. I'm trying to remember what amendment, Article 1, I think it's one of the amendments, where it says the Congress have jurisdiction over the legislative part. They create a citizenship under the legislation. So the statutes is not a law, a regulations is not a law, and the ordinances is not a law. The only law is the Constitution. That is the law of the land. And the law of the land is due process. The law of the land is due process, point blank period. This is why when people read the Declaration of Independence, it says government was instituted amongst men, deriving their just power from the consent of the governed. That when any federal, state, or local, when any form of government becomes destructive to its ends, it is the right of the people, not the persons, it's the right of the people to alter it, abolish it, and institute a new one. Now go read the Declaration of Independence and tell me if I'm wrong or not. That's what's going on. I understand a lot of these Moors don't. Declaration of Independence
is not really a reference that you can make towards it. And secondly, your idea of person, you relying on the corpus securus secundum. Secundum is a reference. You know what? Corpus juris secundum. You don't. I'm going to tell you right now. That's a reference. That's a reference. That is a secondary source. You know what the primary source is? The law. The state law, the federal law, which defines person. A person is includes a natural person and a corporation and an association. So your idea of person is one that's made up that's pretty much pulled out of your own ass. Because person in state laws and in the federal law includes a natural person. Natural person is a human being, so person includes everybody. That means individuals and corporations. So your idea of person only meaning fictions like corporations is bullshit, and I have seen case after case after case after case say that. So I would like you to provide for me a court case where somebody has won on the merits where the court says, oh, you know what? You're right. Person in this law says not an individual human being. You're a case dismissed. Have a nice day. Please provide me a succeeding court case in that.
Okay, now let me take you back then. Now you said we can take it to the state then, right? There's books. What state are you looking at right now?
New Jersey.
Maybe I can help you out a little bit. Oh, you're right next to me, babe. I'm Pennsylvania, Philadelphia. So let me go. In Curtin's Pennsylvania statute, and you can find it in New Jersey statute. Now, you said the state laws now, right? When you go get Curtin's, you will see the definition of person. I agree with what you said about the natural person, but the way they trick the people in it to make it seem like it's one and the same. They make it seem like it's one and the same, and it's not necessarily the same. Second of all, the question would be, what kind of courtrooms are we in? We're sitting there act like we're in constitutional courts, but we're in admiralty military tribunals. Let me walk you through.
Okay, well, you brought in two things right there. Hold on a second. You say their ideas of person is designed to trick us. Please provide me the citation and your know-how on how you know that they're trying to trick us. Secondly, you're making a declaratory statement that we are under some sort of admiralty maritime tribunal. Which tribunal are we talking about? State level, federal level? And please elaborate on how you're getting this information.
We can ready go there.
So didn't the Supreme Court say that persons was corporations? Didn't Mitt Romney run on persons being corporations?
Yes, they did, brother. Yes, they did. But
Includes. Oh my goodness.
But I know what these attorneys get. They're not being taught law. They're being taught procedural law.
Actually, that's the ironic thing. We don't get taught procedural law. We get taught in the substance more often than not.
Okay, let's go. Whatever which way you want to flip it. And I've been calling attorneys out for years. So let's have a panel discussion on it. I won't say anything, right? You present the facts. Now let's go into this. What you just said about this flag. Now, anybody with common sense, if you read Title 4 of the United States, everything I'm saying, you can go research, but I know you probably will.
I already have researched it.
Okay, so tell me, what is the gold fringe? You think it's just for decoration? Is it really for decoration, or do I have to take it to somebody that's in the military?
No, it is as a decoration. It is purely an aesthetic. It has no legal significance whatsoever.
Hold up, I'm going to show him something real quick. I'm in Philadelphia, right? I'm going to show him something. 1 second, Aji, but I just was talking about this, right? I was in Pennsylvania Constitutional. I was in Constitutional Center, right, in Philadelphia. So as I was down there, you ask questions because I know, but I just want to see what other people would say. So I asked them, what was the original flag and why is that flag in it? It says in Title 4 of the United States Codes, it says anything else on the flag is a desecration of the flag. Since he said he read that, right, he should know that anything else on that flag is a desecration of that flag. So I'm going to show him something real quick, and he can go do this research. He just said he researched it, right? Well, 1 second, why your passport come out you? Now, I'm going to show him something, but you don't have to take my word for it. Just go do the research on it. Oh, this girl. Oh, here's my books, too. So, Jessica, I don't know if you can turn this around. That's my Pennsylvania book, but I have New Jersey's motor vehicle law, too. So I got all of them. So these are just some of the books. Valentine's, Black's Law, Bouvier's. These are just
well, again, like I said, the Black's Law, relying on Black's Law and Bouvier's law dictionary is kind of meaningless. The courts really don't take that.
Well, you get this. Well, this is where you get your definitions from.
No, that's not, and it's not what the courts rely on. That's not the primary source the courts rely on for the definitions.
Okay, so where are the attorneys getting their laws from?
The actual laws of the states that they have a license in.
Tell me where. Tell me where. Then I can research.
Are you saying that you have the NVMC, you have the motor vehicle code on you? Does it not have a section on definitions? Yes or no?
Okay. Yes, it does.
Thank you very much. Then that's where you get the definitions.
Brother.
Hold on, let him talk, y'all. Though this is supposed to be like he is trying to answer the question.
Here you go, right here. This right here, Title 4, United States Code. That is not the American flag or the United States flag. Okay. Now I'm going to show you what it is. This is in Carpenter's Hall. That's what that flag is right there. You see that one? This is in Carpenter's Hall in Philadelphia. That is what it is, not what the gold fringe. So they're telling you you're under two totally different jurisdictions. They will let you know and put you on notice. And anybody that's in the military will let you know that. If people look it up, and I wish I had my documents with me, because it'll tell you that attorneys are military advisors, which are JAG.
I'm a JAG? My parents said wanted me to become a JAG, but I never decided to go for it. I'll have to call them right now. Let them, hey mom, hey, guess what? I'm actually a JAG after all. I didn't even have to sign up for the military at all.
No doubt. Hold up. That's all you got to do is sit with somebody in the military. honestly, again, this is what kills me. When I was in Texas, I sat with this brother, two of them, one in Philadelphia, one in Houston, San Antonio, Texas.
Oh, SA Town. I used to live there.
Hold up. He was so nervous, and it's up on my Facebook. He was so nervous to show me his license. I said, if you can show me a licensed lawyer, not an attorney, show me a licensed lawyer. Now he's going to make up excuse for this one too. So I can quote the word jurist. Now I said to him, and it's up, Cass seen this, right? He showed me, he said, we're not licensed lawyers. He said, we are licensed attorneys by the state. And actually the bar card, which they get, says to practice as an attorney. And anytime they can revoke that. So now there is a difference. There is a difference between a jurist and the person that's an attorney. A jurist is one who's versed or skilled in law. Has nothing to do with saying an attorney. Nothing at all. It says that. Jurist. One who's versed or skilled in law. Jurisprudence is the science of law, which treats the principles of positive law and legal relations. So when people sit up and say, well, brother, this is what we've been teaching. It's the state. I didn't study state law, federal law, local law, whatever which one you want. I studied every last one of them. Every last one.
I'm sure you have. The problem is that you just pulled all of that out of your ass because that doesn't have any.
No, I didn't know it. Well, it's not out of my ass. It's out of my head.
Oh, well, out of your head, out of your ass, it's the same thing. It has no validity whatsoever. Because we already had this discussion before you came on. I already told them straight up, I don't have a card. I don't have a bar card. I don't need to be a member of a bar to practice. I have a wall license on the wall of my house. There it says I am licensed to practice law in the state of New York, and also I have a license to practice the law in the state of New Jersey. But I do not have to be a member of the ABA or the New Jersey Bar Association or New York Bar Association, because my license is governed by the respective judiciary. And no, I don't need to have a card on me to have my license. Okay. So your whole idea of trying to make a distinction between an attorney and a lawyer and a jurist is bullshit. With all due respect.
That's all it really is. Okay.
And I mean, if you wanted to go back to the whole flag argument, I mean, I have a bunch of different citations saying that the whole idea of trying to claim that the flag or how the flag is decorated is in any way a sign of the court's jurisdiction is completely bullshit. I mean, I can provide them for you if you want to see them.
Oh, you can listen. You should do this to me then. If that's the case, you can inbox me on Facebook.
Hold on. Let me share my screen here.
No, because I'm gonna tell you this, and actually I'll be back in.
Just so you don't y'all won't say I didn't put anything. There you go, right there.
Oh, I don't go to. Is that it? Are you going online to find that kind of stuff?
I'm going online to Lexis, which is a repository.
LexisNexis. I'm very Lexis. I'm very aware of that. I'm very aware of that.
Okay then. So don't think that I'm taking this out of a blog post now.
Okay, well, I mean, when you put it up there, because I can't even see it on. It's really small, but I will dissect it and get it. So you can send it to my inbox. I will definitely dissect it, and I'm gonna make sense out of it. One thing that I do is I will research the hell out of everything that you throw at me, and believe me, this is nothing new to me, fam. It's not new to me.
Well, I will say likewise. And so far, what has been provided to me is things that I have already heard plenty of times over.
Well, you didn't hear it this way. Well, you didn't hear it from this. That's the difference. Trust me when I tell you. You didn't hear it from Beer Bay. I'm gonna just keep it 100 with you. You really didn't. You need to research me 1,000 times over before you say that, because I know what's going on out here.
No, with all due respect, I've heard it from one person. I've heard it all. You really haven't said anything new.
Trust me. No, brother. And if my daughter was really like chill, I can really get focused on you. And really, that's why I said inbox me, right? And anytime you want to set this up again, and when I'm in that position to say, okay, now I'm going to show you from books, and then I can take you to LexisNexis. So I can bounce back and forth. But I say to people, do your research on who I am first. Look at every last one of my videos on YouTube. You're not going to hear me regurgitate the same thing what these dudes are saying. I don't do that. Okay, I really don't. I've been in law firms actually rest in peace, Willie Natil. I was in a law firm on Warner Street in Philadelphia, and I quoted every book that he had, and they had law dictionaries in there, and they had Purtons in there. So they was asking, what school did I go to for law? And he laughed at them and said he never went to law school. And guess what? They were mad because they thought I went to a law school. Listen, it's a lot to this. It's a whole lot to what's going on.
Oh, I agree with you. There is a lot I have to sift through, and a lot I've had to sift through.
Yeah.
You think I haven't been watching my fair share of YouTube videos and have come to the same conclusion?
Go watch Sabir Bey's YouTube videos. Go watch my video and then see. I'm dead serious. Go watch it. Carter G. Woodson said in one of his books, The Miseducation of the Negro, he said, he was talking about the lawyers, and he said it's too much painstaking research, and most of our attorneys are not willing to take that chance. It's too much painstaking research because you got to research everything. You have to research every word. I didn't went through every Purtons. I didn't went through every probably shepherdizing. I went through every last one of these things. Every day, daily, from Harvard Law Library to City Hall Law Library to Jenkins Law Library to the Thurgood Marshall Law Library. I done been in every law library.
You know,
sitting there for hours. Trust me. I don't know where these other people's coming from, but I'm just telling you about me.
Well, if I'm going to take your statement on board on the research that you've done, if I were to say that, you know, my response to you is that if you have done that level of research and you haven't yet figured out that most of what this is all a bunch of bullshit, then I have issues with your research taking abilities.
Well, all of this stuff is bullshit. Even on the attorney side is bullshit. Do you understand that even the Supreme Court stated that if an attorney don't know the remedy, because the remedy for everything. He said if an attorney does not know the remedy for the rule, regulation, and statute, he could be disqualified. There is a remedy for everything that's out. The only remedy there's none for is murder. Corpus delicti. Murder, bodies. You got to have the body. What is the crime?
Corpus.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, the corpus delicti is not but it's not literally a physical body.
Brother,
it's a reference to the elements of the crime.
Listen, everything that you're saying, I understand. Listen to what I just said. You have commercial, and you have, let me see, commercial and common. They're not even dealing with common law anymore, because that went out the door with the Erie Railroad versus Tompkins case. That went out the door. There is no more common law since that case. If common law was really the only common law to tell you the truth.
According to who?
The case, I just go read the Erie.
I've read Erie Railroad. It says nothing about the that at the federal level. Or the state level.
Talking federal. Hold up. Let me go back again. Now you're saying federal, state, or local. Which one? We gotta be specific.
No, well, but you are saying there's no more common law in existence, and you basing that off of Erie Railroad case.
Murder is common law. What I'm saying to you.
So is burglary.
Everything else other than this, everything else after this is commercial law. Commercial, and this is where the volumes of the Uniform Commercial Code comes in at.
Oh fuck! Here we go.
Of the Uniform Commercial.
You see what I'm saying? What I'm saying when I tell you I've heard this shit before? Now you're gonna start with the UCC on me?
Okay. No, listen. I said to you. Did you hear me say volumes, right?
Yeah, volumes of the UCC, which isn't law.
You tell me. Then you tell me what is the UCC then?
Uniform Commercial Code.
What is it?
The Uniform Commercial Code is a model code of law governing transactions among businesses. It is not the USCC in and of itself is not established law. Each state has ratified or passed their own version of the UCC through each state. There is no federal UCC in existence. Goodness gracious!
So now you're going back to federal. Again. Now again. Are we talking federal? I'm coming back to Philly, and I would love to meet up with you in Jersey or in Philly, that I can sit and we can go into a law library, right? Sit there, you and I can walk you through. If you want to talk federal, we can build federal. If you want to talk state, we can talk state. I don't even want to talk about the city because the city is a charter, it's under the Home Rule Charter. That's corporate. Municipalities. Every city has it. So we can walk all the way through this if you choose to. I got it, what you're saying. So don't tell me that the Uniform Commercial Code don't exist or it has something to do with transactions. That's it.
Yeah, I'm telling you, that's it.
I can walk you through, and I know you. If you say you are who you say you are, you know it's more.
No, I'm telling you that's it. And the reason I'm telling you that's it is because every single time somebody tries to drop the UCC when it's their criminal case or a family court case, the court laughs it off and dismisses it as fucking irrelevant.
Because you know why they're laughing? Because they're not in a real court of law.
and there's the kicker. There's the get out of jail free card. They're not real courts. The real courts are the ones who acknowledge our bullshit. But in these courts, the courts that everybody else goes into, they all say it's bullshit. I love how this works.
This is what I can say. If you choose to go get some of your attorney friends, right, and let's have a panel discussion, and I won't say nothing for the whole hour. Let them present their case, right, and then I'll present my case. So I'm not going to condemn anything that you're saying, right? I'm going to let you talk, present the case, and then I'm going to come right behind, and then I'm going to break everything down that y'all just said. Can we do that? Can we get 5 attorneys to put up some money, and let's make this happen?
Put up some money?
I said, you took up something that was so simple and said, oh, yeah, y'all saying they're not real courts. You didn't even let me finish about what I said about the real courts.
Well, then by all means, please explain to me how traffic court isn't a real thing.
No, it's not. You think, listen, let me explain to you. Let me explain this to you. In Pennsylvania, if they didn't change it yet, let me explain this to you in Pennsylvania. I could have been a minor judiciary judge in Philadelphia. Right? Judiciary judge. If you're an attorney, you know what I'm talking about. You have to study Title 75, Title 42, Title 18. Those judges are minor judiciary judges. They're not constitutional judges. They are look, administrative law judges.
Are we talking about the state of Pennsylvania or the feds?
Listen. You asked me if you said something not real judges. I'm saying to you what they are. I just said administrative law judges. That's all I said. Look it up. I just have administrative law judge. Listen, you can dress up the thing you want to be what it is. If I just said to you it's administrative law judge, right?
I know what an ALJ is, yes.
Okay, well, I understand it. Listen to me again. They're not constitutional laws, courts. There's a statutory, you have a statutory court, a constitutional court. 2 courts.
Okay, but
one is created by legislators. One is created by the legislature, right?
Well, again, which one are we talking about here? Again, you're not clarifying for me whether whether you're talking about Pennsylvania or the U.S. or the United States.
I'm talking about the U.S.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you very much. Go ahead.
I want you to. Damn, this is hell, boy, right here. This is how you multitask. I know. Come on. You got to multitask doing this. But the Constitutional Court and the statutory legislative court created by the legislators. So the judges, you just said traffic court. Traffic court is the low. It is dealing with commerce. It's dealing with transportation. Under Title 49, you can look it up for yourself. Title 49, the CFR, or Title 49 of the United States Codes. Transportation, traffic. If this thing goes so deep, brother, it's like the way they make stuff complicated for people. They make it very complicated, but it's not complicated. Who makes it more complicated is these attorneys, because they're supposed to know better. But I understand it's about money. I got that part. I really do understand it's about money. But I've been calling out for 18 years since I've been on radio to actually put a panel together. I should put it together. You know how many attorneys that from Philadelphia knew what I was talking about that would come to me and tell me that I shouldn't tell people this stuff? They would. I was at radio stations. When I was in there, they told me to don't say nothing. Yo, get the money. This is what they were telling me. So
I'm sure they were.
It's not about that though. It's about the truth. That's all it's about. It's about the truth. This is what's going on. That's
all right. I know Well, the thing is, I want to go back to what you just declared, that this idea that Title 49 has anything to do with Pennsylvania's or New Jersey's. Well, I don't think New Jersey has a traffic court, but what Title 49 has anything to do with how the states operate and formulate their courts. I hate to break it to you, but the states have always had their own leeway to formulate the courts in however way they wish. Each state's court is governed by their own constitution. Now, if you've done your research on that, then you would understand that the 10th Amendment grants this power to the states to formulate their courts in whatever way they see fit, meaning that they can establish their own courts in however way they wish. That's why New Jersey has what's called drug court, and it is a court established by the state of New Jersey, and the Constitution, the federal Constitution, is not really involved here. I mean, I don't know why you keep thinking that it is, but it's not. The states have their own levels of sovereignty to operate their judiciary in the way they see fit.
Okay, let's go into the state of New Jersey Constitution then, because they got one too.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's dig into the New Jersey Constitution, or you can dig into the Title 39 of the Motor Vehicle Law book in New Jersey. So which one you want to come at, the 39, or you want to take it higher to the CFR? I mean, we can.
Why would, again, the CFR has nothing to do with the state of New Jersey. Why are you trying to quote the Code of Federal Regulations?
Listen, because what happens, again, their authority from transportation comes from that.
No, it doesn't.
Hold up, listen to what I just said to you again. If you read Title 39 of the Motor Vehicle Law book of New Jersey, Pennsylvania is a 75. If you read that book, anyone in that book is going to tell you where in that book its authority is coming from. It's going to tell you 49 of the CFR or 49 of the United States codes, and it's a trickle down how this works. So it's coming from the top, from somewhere down. So it leads into the New Jersey Motor Vehicle Law book. That's when it leads into that. So again, either you want to pick up the state of New Jersey Constitution and read it, where it says all power is invested in the people, or you want to, which one?
I'm going to tell you who passed the law that created Title 39: New Jersey or Congress? The New Jersey Legislature, the New Jersey Assembly, or Congress?
What do you mean? What's it?
Which legislative body passed the law establishing Title 39 of the New Jersey's Motor Vehicle Code? New Jersey Assembly or the U.S. Congress?
Jersey Assembly.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Okay, now let me explain this to you. Each state has their representative. They go where? Where does your state rep go? Every state of New Jersey, from Pennsylvania to California, where do they go when they have their meetings?
Trenton. If we're talking about the New Jersey Assembly.
They all go to Washington, D.C.
So now you're talking about Congress. I'm not talking about You just said it yourself that the New Jersey Assembly, the state assembly, passed the law that says Title 39, not Congress.
I just said representatives still have to go to. That's what they do.
Okay.
Again, I'm bringing these things up so just the audience can hear and research this themselves. The Buck Act, the B-U-C-K. If you look up the Buck Act, they created fictional areas, states within states, cities within cities. So what happens? They expanded Washington D.C. into every state of this union. Every state of the union, you have the federal district, you have the district of New Jersey somewhere, you got Pennsylvania. Each area has their own districts. The districts only come out of D.C. Called, let me explain this again, which you may look it up, the Buck Act, the B-U-C-K, and just read it thoroughly. And if you like case laws, the case laws is inside there also too, to walk you right back to it. It's self-explanatory. It's not complicated.
Well, I mean, how do we get from Title 39 to the Buck Act?
Because I just said to you, representatives, they get their money, they get their authority. They get the money and the authority from that, the federally funded. They get federally funded money. This is why the states cannot discriminate on certain people, bro. There's a whole lot to this. I'm trying to just run through everything. And this is why I would love to come back and just, okay, this is like I was doing something with my daughter. So I would love to have her sit on one and just lay everything out for you. So now, let me go back to this again. Every state gets federally funded money from the federal government. Where the hell is this going? Federal government get money. Every state. And this is why the states cannot discriminate, or they're going to pull their federally funded money from them. That's how this is set up.
Right. That's for certain laws. Yes.
Listen. We can say certain laws, whatever. I like again.
Right, like the drinking age. That's how they enforce the drinking age to 21. Is that they tell states that we're going to withhold your transportation funding unless you raise the drinking age. That was challenged and it was ruled constitutional.
It's a game, G. Everything what they're doing is a straight game. It's a game. You just got to be on top of the game. That's why they study the art of war. That's why they teach the art of war in school. But the masses of the people don't know that. They don't teach no art of war. They don't teach the deception of what this government is doing. That's as simple as plain. I just quoted the Declaration of Independence.
Okay.
I just quoted the Constitution. They all take every attorney and every politician. What do they take their oath?
They swear an oath to protect and defend the Constitution.
Okay, so what Constitution?
The Constitution that was ratified in 1791.
Okay, so you just said something about it's not federal, right? So if they took an oath, like Christopher Darden said, he took an oath to uphold the Constitution. I said, really, Christopher Darden? Did you really do that? So if you uphold the Constitution, then where does all this other craziness come in at? Where do all the rest of this deception comes in at? If the Constitution says you can't take somebody's property without due process, which means one, you have to have a jury of your peers.
No, you don't. That's not what due process says.
I'm going back. Listen. Jury of your peers, or the law of the land. In the law of the land is due process. You must have a jury of your peers. I don't know what law books you.
That's not what due process says, man. You're gonna have to go look at your books again.
Hold up.
I mean, but Sabir, you got to give him a chance to talk, though. You keep, like, when you say something and then he starts to talk, you know what I'm saying? It's like, it's the both and back thing, though. So when you say something, let him get done, and then, you know what I'm saying, y'all can have a good build.
Yeah,
Because y'all have a good build, though.
I'm actually multitasking, brother, so I'm trying to get much as I can before this girl wakes back up. So
I feel you, but it's more than one people on this show, though, and y'all got a double build, though. It just can't be you talking, though. You got to let him talk, though.
I mean, you're saying that due process requires a jury of your peers when I don't know of any case that says that. In fact, I can bring you a Supreme Court case that dealt with somebody's revocation of their driver's license, and the court said that your driver's license cannot be arbitrarily revoked without some sort of administrative hearing. Administrative hearing didn't have a jury of your peers, but they said that due process was rectified through it. So you saying due process automatically means trial by jury. That's not what due process means.
that's not what I said, bro. I didn't say trial by jury. You didn't hear me say that. I said to you,
jury of your peers.
Here you go. Jury of your peers, or the law of the land. If you look up the due process in any law dictionary, if you read the Constitution, it's in the Constitution, I believe, somewhere too. And I thought I had it. She took the card, but I don't have the card with me. But I was going to pull it out to show exactly what I was talking about. So the administrative is something totally different. If we're talking about the attorneys taking oaths on the Constitution to uphold the Constitution, when you're violating the Constitution by administrative law is not constitutional law. Administrative law is not due process. It's not. It's exactly what it is. It's administrative. That's what it is.
Administrative law deals with regulations that are enacted by the administrative agencies, and they get that power to enact those regulations through statutes passed by Congress and their respective states.
Okay, so again,
They clerks masquerading as judges.
Exactly. The regulation is not law.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not. Really? Show me.
He said it was something that was passed, so
A regulation is a rule that is determined, that is held out by a federal agency or government agency. The government agency gets the power to make those rules, to make those regulations through the statutory laws that are passed by the respective legislatures.
Okay, now you said agencies, right?
And they are and also they are. I'm sorry, to finish the point. They are in fact enforceable. Now, please go ahead.
Now you just brought it up. You said it was a law. Then you switched it up to agencies. Now, the municipalities is what I just said. Municipalities are agencies, which are corporations. So they pass it for the people of that working for that municipality. So
no.
That's why I said look up the regulations of what a regulation is. One is temporary and one is an opinion. There's two different ways we can look at that, but it's not law. It's a law of an agency for anybody who works for the agencies. It has nothing to do with the people. Again, if the people created the government, the people have the power to say what and what is not. The people do. That's
what I'm getting through both of y'all is my fault, because I can't take nobody's side on this, but what I'm trying to say, so I can say this right, is one person saying that statutes and codes is not law, and the other person saying statutes and code is law.
Well, that's why you got to look it up.
I'm not saying that y'all wrong. I'm just trying to say statutes and codes are law for people that's under that law, and everybody that's in America, is under that law, unless you take certain. You're not necessarily true. Unless you know what to do, though. So we just can't say it's not law unless we show that it's not necessarily true.
But that's why, brother, like this right here, I was in the midst of with my daughter because I just got off the plane, right? But if I was sitting in front of my stuff, I would actually walk you through all of this and show you, not from one source, two source, three source, but probably like 100 sources, coming all the way down. So it's not something that I'm making up. I'm just trying to show you that I know what they have been teaching people. So when he said it was a law, I'm like, what law? An agency, listen, a corporation has laws. They have bylaws, they have laws. Municipalities have laws.
Ordinances.
Anybody who works for a trash company or whatever, that right there has bylaws, which I just said. Again, it applies to those people. So when they talk about the jurisdiction, again, the jurisdictional issue. So what makes me, because I'm here, does that mean that you have jurisdiction over me because I'm here? No, that's not true.
Yes, it is true.
No.
Yes, that is probably the fundamental disconnect that we probably have here.
Just rebut him, Artie, after he get done.
All right.
Okay. So, if you have Indians, right? Indians are not subject to the jurisdiction of this. They're not. How is it that they don't have jurisdiction over them? Well, the $5 Indians, let's put it that way. The $5 Indians. You have Jews that is not even subject to certain jurisdictions. If you study the whole Jewish community, they have people speaking for them. They got a lot of stuff that is going on. So again, don't say because we here they have jurisdiction. No, they don't. Everything is based on your consent in contracts. This is how this thing is working. So from childhood, we have been taught that this is what this is, and you are subject to this. No, that's not true. That's not true at all.
Okay, thank you very much. Let me see if I can parse this down, because you just dropped a whole bunch of word salad. But territorial jurisdiction is something that's been established a long time ago. In terms of
jurisdiction, and he said that the Jews, other people are not under that jurisdiction. I just would like to hear you rebut that.
I don't know where the hell he's pulling that out of, because I got nothing for that. The only thing I have is what he's saying to me, and I'm not going to accept it. Assertions without evidence can be dismissed without evidence. So.
No, I'm not trying to be rude. I'm just talking about jurisdiction. Just give you.
But when it comes, but when it comes to jurisdiction, where he's making this argument that just by being here, you're not subject to it. Well, I mean, there's plenty of cases that will disagree with you in the idea that just because you declare that I am not, within this state, I am not within the borders of the municipality, I am not within the United States, or I am not a citizen of the United States, and the judges will say, fuck off. You are here, therefore you are subject to the laws of the United States, regardless of what you think you are or aren't. That doesn't matter whether or not you're a citizen or not a citizen. If you are in the borders of the United States, you are subject to the laws and can be punished accordingly. So this idea that you could just simply declare yourself as not being part of the United States, I can go ahead and do anything I want. It doesn't really fly. So I don't know where you're getting this idea that merely saying like I never explicitly consented to these certain laws, therefore I don't have to follow them. Nobody has recognized that as a legitimate argument, and these are cases that have been going on for like the last 60 years. So if you could find me an actual case of somebody who has won on the merits and making that argument, please show it to me.
Okay, so listen, let me explain this to you. You keep saying what these judges and what they're saying.
Yeah.
One thing that we have to understand, who pays these people, what's going on, the corruption inside the court. Listen, I just brought up to you, so you telling me you never heard of an Indian, the so-called $5 Indians, of them not having jurisdiction over them. That's what you're trying to tell me?
I never said anything about that, but I will say when it comes to Native Americans, while Native American reservations have their own, hold on. I want to complete my point when it comes to Native Americans. They have their own reservations. Within those reservations, Native Americans have their own level of sovereignty. But the moment that they get out of the reservations and into the respective state they're subject to the laws of that state, just as anywhere else. So don't act like as though they're sovereign. They have this reservation. That means that they can do whatever the fuck they want across the whole of the United States.
Let me tell you something. Okay, I agree with you.
My fault, Sabir. I ain't trying to get rude enough, but just understand, Artie, we will let you talk. We're not trying to overtalk nobody. Your turn, Rudy. I mean, your turn, Sabir.
Now listen, you have, number one, I said the Indians, right? He's right. When they step off that reservation, it's also the canon laws of the Catholic Church.
Oh, for fuck's sake, here we go again.
Over the Catholic Church either. The Catholic Church is a sovereign ground. You can walk into a Catholic church, and this is what I told people in Philadelphia when I was doing radio. I said, why do you think they can't never lock up a priest until they put the priest outside the church? The church has a law called the canon laws. The canon laws that's here predates the laws that's out here now. So you asking me for stuff to show you, I can show you all that, but you could also research this. The canon laws, the police cannot walk into a Catholic church because that's a total different ground, protected by the Vatican. There's laws called the canon law.
I've seen plenty of instances where the police have enacted search warrants in a church and made arrests within a church. So I don't know where the hell you're getting this crap from.
You keep saying church. Don't make it twisted on a church, right?
Catholic church, Protestant church, doesn't fucking matter, man.
Listen, all I'm saying to you, family, is just, I don't know if you will or won't, but just study the canon laws. That's all. Just watch the churches and study the churches. They recently now is getting authority from, I forgot where it's from, to go inside these churches. This is why even the mob was doing the stuff they were doing. That's why they were running inside the churches, because they couldn't come inside those churches. Come on, man.
You're asking me to go research canon law, and I'm going to say to you why when it has no validity in our current law at all. It's meaningless. Nobody's going to cite canon law to try and get themselves out of prison.
Okay, all right.
Because it's like, why the hell are you citing the canon law? You might as well cite to me French law.
Listen to me. The only reason why I brought that up is because we were talking about jurisdiction. That's why that came up.
Hold on, I gotta say something slick to him, Sabir. I just want to say something real slick to him. Trust law is under French law.
What? In Louisiana, maybe.
Trust law, CCQ trust is the French law that we use in America, brother.
In Louisiana, probably. Because that's still under Napoleon. Louisiana operates under the Napoleonic Civil Code as well as Puerto Rico, because they were, one was a former French colony and the other was a Spanish colony. and they operate under the civil system.
I'm just trying to keep it fair. I'm just trying to keep it fair, but I'll just try to say one thing that you said to look under French law, and I was just trying to say that we do use French law in America, brother. That's all.
Yeah,
Don't think I'm just trying to jump on you, but we do use French law in America.
It's a whole lot of stuff that's going on.
Well, I'm talking about the actual modern law of France when I was making that argument, but go ahead.
Both of y'all. People in the chat is liking this. People in the chat is liking this. The both of y'all. Keep the build up.
Listen, he keeps saying the modern laws, the modern laws, the modern laws. Listen, man. Every time I'm showing him something, he's saying something different. So what I'm saying to you, if the Constitution, again, the Constitution is the law, right? All this, it said, even in the statute, it said if a statute conflicts with the Constitution, the statutes fall at its wayside. If a statute violates the Constitution, it falls. Everything that they're doing, because they're good manipulators, the attorneys are good manipulators and they're good mouth professors. They like that. That's good in what they do. But they're not used to somebody knowing what they know. So everything you keep throwing at me, I can give you an answer to it, man.
Oh, I'm sure you can.
I can tell you where to find it at. I'm not, I mean, come on. I can tell you exactly where this information is at and where it's stated. And this is why I've been saying this for the longest. Let's put a panel together. They bring their best and we bring our best. It is that simple. You follow me? It's not complicated, family. I know what they teach.
No, I couldn't agree with you more. It's not complicated at all. It's all a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah, it is. And it's on both their side too. It's a whole bunch of BS. And if it's all about money. This is what they are.
Oh, I agree with you on that too. It's a law all about money. People grifting the gullible and the desperate into buying into this legal crap and then getting in trouble for it. People selling these get out of jail free packets for $500 a pop. They try to argue this in court. They land themselves 30 days in jail for contempt, and the other guy's off making his next sale. So I agree with you. It's all about money.
Listen.
But there is laws. My fault, Sabir. I know you was talking. My fault, bro. My fault.
No, I'm just saying he's right on what he said, but the attorneys are doing the exact same thing, but they got a license to do it. It's the exact same thing that these attorneys are doing. They're doing the same thing of what these people out here selling packages is doing. Oh, matter of fact, look. Oh, what is this?
Wait, so because attorneys do it, that makes it okay to scam people.
I'm not saying it's okay because I don't do it. I can kill us. I don't do it. I don't.
Well.
But I think there's a lot of people out here that ain't selling paperwork for getting out of jail. I think a lot of people are getting a lot of people informed because they know that they're not black under law, and the social construct that was made by a dude named Blumenblock, we got ourselves into a social construct that paperwork will get us out, but there are a lot of dirty Moors out there, yes.
It's a whole lot of them. It's a whole lot of them, G. And I did a video on Facebook about that, and I said, and an elder told me, he said, you may have your own people mad at you because of what you're talking about. This is what he said to me. Because I'm saying this, it is some people that will be mad at me because I said you have people selling paperwork. I just keep my mouth shut and don't say anything, but I don't want people getting locked up. But I will guide you to where this information is at. That's all I would do. I'm a guider. And say, okay, now you read this. That's all I'm here to do. But look, just y'all, I got to break it off here, man, because I got to attend to my daughter and go get something to eat. But listen, man.
Well, I agree. I got to go too myself. But go ahead. Sorry.
Inbox me on Facebook, man. I would love to continue this again, man. Like I said, he sent me the information. I was out walking my daughter. So let's set this up again. Like I said, I would love to have a panel with any attorneys openly. You know, we can have this dialogue in the public, not private, so people can see. And we can lay out everything according to law. Everything. And let the people choose. Like they said, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad said, you don't have to give them a dirty glass of water. You just put a clean one up. And that's the same thing in hip-hop. You come, I come. And let the people choose what it is. That's all. All right, man?
Fair enough.
Hit me up on Facebook. Man.
All right.
I got to great go. Peace and love, y'all. It was real, man. All right?
No worries, man. Take care. But on his note, I got a jet too. I got to eat myself.
Hey, thank you, Artie, for showing up, man.
Hey.
Thank you, man. I learned a lot off you, bro.
Sure. Hey, thanks for the invite.
We kicked your ass. Even though we kicked your ass.
Oh, I'm sure you think you did. It's okay. I'll let my viewers decide on that. We'll see what happens.
Hey, in the future, I'd like to talk to you too. My name Root Words, man.
All right, Root Words.
Thanks for the build, though. And Casper, man, this was a great build for mine, man. Thank y'all so much.
All right, take care, you guys.
All right.
Thank you.
Hey.
Well, that was fun. I know y'all can't see me right now, but oh boy. Not even when it's 4-on-1. God, it was painful. Simply, I am not going to send nudes. Come on now. It is something to be said, where these guys have that level of cognitive dissonance. And then you had that Sabine guy, like pure Dunning-Kruger, and you're right. They're basically pigeons. You know, the whole thing where when they jump around, kick the chessboard, shit all over the place, and then still claim victory. But as I said earlier, but in all seriousness, I have to eat dinner. The cats are fucking meowing at me. But we'll see how this goes. But thanks, guys. Thank you to that individual who sent me a super chat way back. I'm sorry, I completely missed who that was. But thank you very much for that, man. I appreciate it. There it is. Larry Mayfield. Thank you very much, man, for that $2 super chat. But you guys have fun. I'm going to go eat. Y'all take care. Adios.